Because this is amazing. I mean, you catch them in a lie, and they need to tell us, give us at least an explanation for why they're lying to us. Adam Credo, thank you for being here. We're going to bring you back and stay on this. And joining us now to react is Republican Congressman Thomas Massie from Kentucky. He also is co-chair of the Second Amendment Caucus. Congressman, thank you for being here. We played a clip from some news that was broken on the show a couple of days ago. State Department was asked about it by an AP reporter, and he blatantly lied, now I understand, from Ned Credo about the fact about whether this agency, this bureau, was created. How do we not hold these people accountable on Capitol Hill and the Pentagon?
Well, they need to be held accountable. I just got off a conference call that Secretary Blinken and Secretary Austin and General Milley had with Nancy Pelosi, Kevin McCarthy, and the rest of us in Congress. And we asked a lot of questions. The interesting thing that came out of that call was that there seems to be a disparity between what the two secretaries are saying and what the president is reporting. For instance, we heard on that call that Americans were beaten by the Taliban in their travel to get to the airport or in an effort to evacuate. That seemed to be news that the president hadn't acknowledged yet. They're also, what we found out is they're not yet, or at least they're not yet claiming, but they haven't yet gone outside the wire, is the term they used, to go help Americans get to the airport. They're telling them right now, get to the airport. But we've got NATO partners who are doing that. But they said on the call that they were looking at all options,
Congressman, let's clarify this. You just got off a call where who was suggesting that there were Americans that were beaten? Was that was it Blinken and Milley telling Congress
Secretary
that there are
Austin.
Americans that are being beaten? Why don't they tell the American people this?
I don't know. This administration seems to have a hard time getting their story together. When we return to Congress next week, we'll get a classified briefing, and maybe we'll hear more about that. But that seemed to be something that should be out in the news. And I don't understand why we aren't going out and trying to help people get to the airport. It's basically, just make your way here, and there's no protection for them on their way there. They are learning.
I just want to do this because I find this very disconcerting that we've had the State Department, we've had the White House, we had the president today on camera, but no one ever mentions this. This representative, who said who came forward with the information that Americans were being beaten on this call?
Secretary Austin said that, and I believe it was Kevin McCarthy, when they opened the line up for questions, who drove that home and pointed out that that was something that the president hadn't said. It was a revelation to us, and it just happened. Literally, I had to get off of that call to join your show here. The other thing that hopefully they will do is, they'll start learning from the people who are coming on the base. That's another thing that they said, that when people make it to the airport, they learn about how they got to the airport, and they're learning more about the situation and what it's like to try and get to the airport. But the question, that I have going forward, by the way, Eric, you start out with a question which needs to be answered, is who's going to be accountable? Right now, in the mix of it, in the heat of it, I think they're just trying to solve the problem, and wisely so. But if we get back in the majority next year, there are going to be subpoenas. You would hope that the Democrats would do the same thing while they're in the majority. I used to serve on the Oversight Committee. I've moved to the Judiciary Committee, but I think they've got to answer to all of Congress.
Yeah, you know what? They're going to answer to Congress. They're going to answer to the American people in 2022. You guys, the Republicans, are going to take Congress. But, man, this ticks me off beyond belief. The president makes a statement. He's got 25 minutes to talk on camera. State Department can come on camera. The Pentagon can come on camera over the last 3 or 4 days and not once mention Americans being beaten or tortured. And this would make the difference, a game changer. Thank you, Thomas Massie, for coming on the show and breaking that news for us here. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on, Eric.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.